Rock and metal invasion. Rock and metal invasion. Rock and metal invasion. Rock and metal invasion.
Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I thought I'd keep it a little bit casual today. I'm doing something that I'm calling Is It Hair Metal? Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly select some vinyl, some records from my record collection, and sort of talk about the album and decide, is this hair metal? So there's a good chance it is, because if you follow my channel, you know that I have quite a good selection of hair metal bands and albums. But sometimes there's always a little bit of debate as to whether it's a hair metal album or if it's a hair metal band, or maybe sometimes they have done hair metal albums, but it's not a hair metal band. So it's going to be interesting, and also just doesn't really matter, right? It's always, I think, one of these sort of somewhat pointless debates. Who really cares, right? But I care a little bit, uh, and I have a pretty basic criteria, and just it just keeps it simple. But there are sometimes some exceptions, and there are some that are a little bit difficult to categorize. And really, actually, I'm calling it as a hair metal mainly because um, I thought that just adds a little twist on what originally I was going to do, which was just randomly pick out records and talk about them. And I'm still going to do that, but I also will answer the question: is this hair metal? So, cheers! I've got my drink with me. It's Friday night here in New Zealand, and it's the end of the week, so sort of thought let's kick back and do a little show and talk about music. So, let's get into it. So behind me, I've got you might see Cinderella, and you might see a band called Envy. Ain't it a sin? So and to be honest with you, because I have them in alphabetical order, I have a rough idea where albums are, but of course, I'm not going to pick the album that's at the very front of the pile, and I'll just randomly choose uh, an album from each sort of pile. But I don't know how many we'll do. We'll just see how we go. As soon as though those two piles are behind me, I might start there. But then obviously I can always I'll show you a little bit. As you can see, I'm not stuck for records to go digging through. So we'll just see how we go. Yeah. All right. So let's get into it. So like I said, we've got this pile behind me. So I'm just gonna oh gosh, do this without making it look like I'm peeking. I'm not. I'm in the E pile, but then also it's going back into the D. So let's see what we get. What have we got here? Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay, so dear Mr. President, is it hair metal? No, I don't think it is. But man, do they look hair metal? And when I picked this up, I totally thought this is what I was going to get. I thought maybe it was going to be a bit of a sort of Guns N' Roses junkyard kind of sound. I do like the song Fate, but otherwise, that's about it. Interestingly enough, it's produced by Mick Jones from Foreigner. Doesn't sound like Foreigner. It's kind of actually sounds like it's like alternative rock, really. But this came out in 1988 on Atlantic, and of course, Atlantic was signing a lot of hair metal bands, and so you would have just thought you would have just seen this, look at the picture of the guys at the back, and just thought, yeah, it's just it's another hair metal band. But and so I was really disappointed when I bought this back in the day, because I did buy it back in the day, and I thought, man, there's not much on here that I'm really into. But yeah, like I say, Fate grew on me. That's kind of about it. Interesting, I've even got it, to be honest with you. I think mainly because you can pick it up pretty cheap. There is another interesting thing about this band. So this is this band is called Dear Mr. President, but and this is really unusual. For whatever reason, the album then got reissued. The track listing got changed, but the band changed its name to Flesh and Blood. So they almost gave it like another run through, which I thought was interesting, because I'm not really quite sure why they thought this would even do any better on a second go round. But yeah, anyway, it just wasn't really my thing. Perhaps I think that guy Julian Raymond's gone on to do some stuff. But and I have talked about this album before, but again, it's sort of I, I've done no research, obviously, or anything like that prior to today's show because it's all random stuff. So I only just have some vague memory about Julian Raymond. And like I say, I have talked about the album before in this band because this is an interesting story, right? But it is kind of one and done, although one one and done with two different band names. And like I say, track listing different. But I think they both still did come out on Atlantic. So there we go. It's an interesting start. Is it hair metal? No, unfortunately not. All right. Let's have another look. Where we're going. I think we'll go back. We'll go back here again. So where am I? Yeah, I'm still in there. So what was that? That was D. Yeah. So in the D, I think I might be able to get. This might be a C. Sure, could still be a D. Let's have a look. See what we got. Oh, okay. Rick Cure and You're My Road. So yeah, we're in the C's, but just at the end of the C's. So just to clarify, so all the records I'm kind of going through are sort of what I would call sort of 80s, early 90s, a bit of 70s, hard rock, heavy metal. So yeah, some hair metal, some not. This is another one that would not be put in the hair metal category. Of course, AOR, melodic rock, that sort of stuff is in here too. And this is probably what I would put that under. AOR, melodic rock, not really heavy, but he does have some good rock songs. He's a Christian artist. This I've got a couple of his albums. What I like about him the most is that he utilizes Bob Halligan Jr. as a songwriter, who's written for some other bands I quite like. Like I think he's written for Kicks and definitely written for Icon. He's written some good songs for those bands, and there's some good ones on here as well. Not an album I pick up a lot. Yeah, I think what's it called? Something Colors. Rick Cure did Show Your Colors. I think that's my kind of go-to Rick Cure album. When I say that, I mean still only maybe a couple of songs that I'm really super familiar with. On this one, I'm sure if I played it, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's not a bad song. But there's nothing really that's particularly memorable that I go, oh yeah, that's one of my go-to songs. But not hair metal. Like I say, Show Your Colors. That's my sort of go-to Rick Cure album. But I've got this one as well, and he's got a few albums out, but most of them are not even in the hard rock, even some of them more pop rock sort of stuff. But like I said, Christian artist. Yeah, that's really all I can say about that one. All right, I think let's move over to the C. So where are we? There we go. There's the C's there. Cinderella. Okay, we'll just go over here. I'm not looking. Let's have a look. So this could be a C or it could be a B. Let's have a look. Oh, I got two. All right. Well, we'll do this one first. Oh my gosh, it's Bon Jovi. Well, there we go. We didn't really need to talk about this, did we? Talked about Bon Jovi enough. Talked about this album quite a bit as well. It's one of my favorite albums of 1984. Maybe my favorite album. I think I said of 1984. Quite a thing, really, isn't it? But yeah, I love this album. And of course, it wasn't a massive hit for them. Slippery When Wet, of course, was the one that really broke them through. But once I heard Slippery, I went back and got their second album and this one. Yeah, great stuff. Now, is it hair metal? Well, I'm going to say yeah. I think they're pretty hair metal. I mean, they're not. They're sort of on that sort of line of sort of just being a hard rock or AOR type band, I suppose, at times. But I think they were touring with a lot of hair metal bands. It's 1984, so it's in that time period, and they haven't got boring yet. So when they stop becoming a hair metal band and start trying to be serious, I started to not like them quite so much. I guess you could say Keep the Faith, where they did, get a little bit more mature with their songwriting. I still think that's a great album, but there's not been a lot since Keep the Faith. But this one's great. And yeah, I'm going to say it's hair metal. Right now, I accidentally got two out, so let's see what that one is. It won't be Bon Jovi. It'll be whatever comes before Bon in my collection. It's Bonham. Jason Bonham, Mad Hatter. This is the second Bonham album. And I really like the song Change of Season. That is a fantastic song. Production by Tony Platt. And like I say, second, and I talked about these guys quite recently on my channel. This is their last album under the name Bonham. Of course, Jason Bonham goes on and does a number of different things. Daniel McMaster, sadly, on vocals, passed away a number of years ago. He's on vocals, and I think after this, Jason Bonham goes on, joins the band Motherland, and then he does the Jason Bonham band. And up until quite recently, of course, he's been touring with Sammy Hagar. But I prefer probably the first album, but this has still got some good tracks on it. So yeah, and probably not an easy one to get on vinyl. I don't ever remember ever seeing it around. But I haven't also been looking it up on Discogs. I'm not sure how easy it is to get, but yeah, there we go. And is it hair metal? I don't think so. And it's actually really it's a tricky one because they again, you know, the especially more on the first album, they kind of got a look, but they're also, if you look at their sort of image here, it's sort of more of a 70s classic rock kind of vibe. And that's kind of they're actually, you know, interestingly enough, of course, you know, Jason Bonham being the son of John Bonham, that there is some Led Zeppelin influences on here, but of course you get away with it, I guess, when your dad's the drummer of Led Zeppelin. But so yeah, I'm going to say it's not hair metal. Maybe their first album was a little bit more closer to hair metal, but even that's probably I wouldn't put it as hair metal. But again, that's where it gets a little bit complicated because you know, uh, when you start sort of describing, you know, or saying, well, it's not quite hair metal enough. Well, what is hair metal? You know, because hair metal actually can sound, hair metal bands can sound also actually quite different. And that's why I kind of like to, in some ways, keep it fairly simple and just say, it's as long as you're a hard rock band and you had that sort of image and it was between 83 and 92, you know, you're pretty much a hair metal band. But yeah, I'm going to probably say no. Right. I'm going to go, if I can position the cameras here a little bit. Now, this is, yeah, private life, I think, here. So I'm going to go into the P's and let's see what we get. What do we get? Oh, okay, these guys, yeah. So, No Sweat, and this is One and Done album, Irish band, I think. And I really like the song Heart and Soul. They've actually got a number. They put out a number of singles. Of course, you know, in the UK, singles are a much bigger thing. You know, 12-inch. You know, there's a lot of 12-inch singles, extra bonus tracks, which I felt a great need for whatever reason to collect. I've got almost all their 12-inch singles, which is interesting because I don't love the band that much, but yeah, produced by Keith Olsen, so good production. And the music video, I think they've actually done two. They actually did two music videos for Heart and Soul. One of them's high budget music video. I think I did a video reaction to it on my channel, and yeah, I think that's a great song. That you could imagine that song having being a hit for them, but it didn't quite work out. Again, maybe the timing. It's 1990. I don't know. You know, they had. I think they had some connections with Def Leppard. I'm not sure if there's any songwriting on here or any. Look, having a look here, if there's any contributions from anyone from Def Leppard. No, but you got. Let's see, you've got. I saw Mick Shipley in here mentioned somewhere. Remixed, yeah, by Mick Shipley. He worked a bit with Def Leppard as well. I'm sure there's a good chance they might have toured with them. But yeah, there we go. And I don't know what any of the other members went on to do. But like I say, really, Heart and Soul is kind of my only really go-to song on that one. But yeah, there we go. No Sweat. And is it hair metal? Yeah, I think it is. All right. Let's have a look where we're going to go now. We went to the section here before. Let's go over here. So this is treats on the front of this one, but so we're not going to choose that one. I'm not looking. All right, let's see what we get. Make sure I just get one this time. Okay, I got one. I think I have. Yep, got one. Oh, okay. So Stone Fury Burns Like a Star. So I'm a big fan of Kingdom Come, and of course Lenny Wolf is the vocalist of this band, and this is their debut album. And Break Down the Walls, I really like that song. That's one of my go-to songs off here. Produced by Andy Johns. I always really liked his production. I think especially in the 80s. Obviously, he was produced in the 70s as well, but I'm more familiar with the 80s. I think the bands he worked with in the 80s, and of course he worked with Van Halen as well on FUCK. That was like 92 or something, wasn't it? Or 91. that sounds great too. But I just think he's and I've heard good things. I mean, he had his issues, I think, from what I've heard as well. But um, yeah, I think the bands that he produced, they always sounded really good. This sounds good. And this is quite early on, right? So this is like 84, I think, that this comes out on MCA. They do put out another album after this, which is also pretty good. I'm not sure which one I prefer the most. I kind of like both, but I prefer Kingdom Come. But yeah, it's also got Bruce Gowdy on here as well. He goes on to the band World Trade, I think, after this. He's done other things as well. And yeah, I think Kingdom Come even uh, remade some of these songs as well. I think it might have been on their album too, where it's like basically TOO, where there's a lot of these Stone Fury songs are done. But yeah, it didn't really take off, I don't think. But I think there is a music video for Break Down the Walls, and most likely there could be some other music videos for Stone Fury. I'm not too sure, but yeah. Is it hair metal? Well, they don't. If you look at the back cover, they don't necessarily have the hair metal look. I mean, yeah, there's a bit of long hair. I mean, that guy's not really got particularly long hair. I'm going to say no. And even the sound is, and this is the whole thing with Kingdom Come. I always felt, yes, okay, sure, they got, labeled as being Led Zeppelin clones, but I think for me, I thought they had still had their own sound, and I still thought as well that they were a little bit different to this. Is I'm talking about Kingdom Come, a little bit different to some of the other bands that were coming out because so many bands all did sound the same. They did sound, I think, a little bit different to other bands. So, and Stone Fury is the same. I don't know who you could really compare Stone Fury to. So, yeah, I always think Lenny Wolf as a songwriter is great, and I like his vocals as well. So, yeah, bit of a shame that he's sort of retired now. I think Kingdom Come are still touring with a different vocalist, but really it's not the same without Lenny Wolf. So and Lenny kept going all through the 90s, putting and 2000s, early 2000s at least, putting out albums. 2000s albums I didn't like that as much as the 90s. That all the albums he put out through the 90s and into the late 90s, Twilight Cruiser, fantastic. Yeah, just lots of good stuff. But yeah, here we go. Stone Fury. I'm going to say not hair metal. It's a big call in some ways because, like I say, I try and keep it fairly simple. Just say hard rock band 83 to 92. But for whatever reason, I just think this doesn't really have that sound, the hair metal sound. All right. Let's have a look. Where should we go now? Let's go down to, I'm just going to go down here. So what are we looking at? Okay, so I don't want to do soundtracks. So let's go over to here. So I put this one up here. You'll see that that's Whitesnake, right? Yeah, so Whitesnake. So I'm in the W's. Let's get back a bit more. Let's see what we get. Might get Warlock or something. Let's see. Oh, no. We got my friend Vinnie Vincent. I shouldn't say oh, no. I love Vinnie Vincent. Vinnie Vincent, Invasion, All Systems Go. So, yeah, this is the second album. It's interesting because some people prefer the second. Some people prefer the first. I think most people prefer the first. I probably prefer the first, but then I actually really like this one as well. So, yeah, I think I do prefer the first, but I think this one does sound a little bit different, but not different in a bad way. I think the guitar works maybe toned down a little bit. Maybe that's why some people might prefer this one. Not quite so over the top. And of course, you've got Mark Slaughter on vocals. Fleischman, of course, was on the first one, although he's not in the music video. And yeah, he's funny because when you look at the debut Vinnie Vincent album, Robert Fleischman on the back cover does not look hair metal whatsoever, but everyone else total hair metal. But yeah, Mark Slaughter I think probably fits into the band, at least image-wise, a bit better. And are they hair metal? Well, I think that picture sort of answers it all for you. I mean, but yeah, no, totally. But some good songs on here. I always liked, oh, so many good ones. Dirty Rhythm, Naughty Naughty, That Time of Year, I think it's a great song. Let me see what's some other go-to songs. It's just like the kind of album actually from start to finish. I'm pretty happy to sort of play, but yeah, there's some standout stuff definitely. But Shame they only did the 2 albums, Vinnie Vincent Invasion, and of course I've talked about that third album that there's demos and stuff for, but never came out. And the EP that he put out, Euphoria, I think there's only 4 songs on it, but they're really good. You got Robert Fleischman back, I think, for that one. And Vinnie Vincent is back on Facebook, so he's doing his updates again, and he's been saying some interesting stuff. But you got to take it for what it is when it's Vinnie Vincent, unfortunately. But supposedly there's going to be a single in a few months, just 2 songs, and yeah, maybe then an EP, and then the album's not going to be coming out till next year. So really, I don't know what's taking so long. Because I don't think he's actually like recording a new album. I think he's taking stuff he's already got. So I'm not sure why it would take this long. Maybe he's trying to drag it out. But yeah, anyway, we'll wait and see. Okay, maybe I'll just do one more because it's been going on for a while. Where should we go? I'm just gonna go over to maybe I'll move over to the section that maybe I can move it actually. Let's see. Yeah, so I might move over. Yeah, I won't be able to really take the camera with me. So what I'll do is I'll just disappear for a second. But trust me, I won't be looking. Yeah, I'm just going through. This is sort of the K section. Or the J section. Or could also be the I section. So I got, and I talked about these guys before, Icon. Night of the Crime. Like I said, the guy who does songwriting for them, gosh, now I've forgotten his name, Bob Halligan Jr. So he writes, does quite a bit of songwriting on this album, and yeah, there's some great songs. This is one of my go-to albums. I love playing this album, and yeah, just really good. This would be my favorite Icon album, but they are a really good band. All their albums are good. And I actually talked about this band a little bit recently when I talked about something I kind of only found out quite recently, that initially they were a band called the Schoolboys, I think Schoolboys, and they put out like I think it was just an EP, like 4 songs or something like that, in like 1980. And one of the guys from that band then goes on into King Cobra, and then but 3 of the guys from Schoolboys then becomes Icon, and yeah, this is fantastic. Like I said, produced by Eddie Kramer. I think they put out another album after this, but then they have a different vocalist, but it's still really good. What I think was, their final album with a different vocalist. That's also really good. So, Icon, Night of the Crime. Is it hair metal? Yes, I'm going to say that it is. And their first album's more like traditional heavy metal. I'd still say it's hair metal though, but it's definitely more just that sort of mid early 80s American heavy metal, really, but with the image and look. They're definitely glammed, got a bit of a glammy look there. All right, so there we go. Just random selections from my vinyl collection of hard rock, heavy metal, hair metal. I do actually have like what I would just call straight up just heavy metal in here, but I guess not a lot. Didn't pick any of that out. Just pick out, I guess, stuff that I wouldn't necessarily call hair metal, more sort of hard rock or just classic rock or 70s inspired rock, even a bit of alternative rock, I suppose, rather than hair metal. But yeah, definitely got some hair metal in there. And like I say, it was all random. And obviously, sometimes when I'm talking about bands or albums, I've had a bit of chance to research a little bit and can give you a little bit more information when it's just up the top of my head. There's stuff in there, but sometimes it's I forget it. So anyway, cheers. Hope you're having a great whatever and wherever you are. And if you like this type of content, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see if I can do what Dan does. We'll catch you later. See ya.